Again. Sirach 10 and 1. Because like we was going into before, man, this is about the translation of a kingdom from one hand to the to another. And to YAHAWASHI, this is the last time a kingdom is going to be translated ever again. We could probably get that in Daniel's second chapter. You got Sirach 10 and start at 6.
Sirach chapter 10. Sirach chapter 10 verse 6. Bear not hatred to thy neighbor for every wrong, and do nothing at all by injurious practices.
Yeah, injurious practices. Meaning that no matter what happens between you and your brethren, you're not supposed to be doing anything malicious, man.
Right.
You got it, huh?
Pride is hateful before the Most High,
right?
And man, and by both doeth one commit iniquity.
And the so-called white man is proud, man. Very proud. And that's why the Lord said that the lofty looks of man are going to be brought low in that day, man. And that's why the Lord said he loved Jacob and he hated Esau. One of Esau's attributes is pride, man. You got it, huh?
Because of unrighteous dealings, inquiries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
And that's the time that we in, man. We're in the time of the translating of kingdoms. The power leaving a nation and being translated to the hands of another nation. You know, they have a saying, power is never destroyed, it's merely translated.
Right.
Riches are never destroyed, they're merely translated to another nation. And now we're in the beginning stages of power being taken from the so-called white man and being transitioned. Can we get Daniel 2? Around 42nd verse.
Verse 9. Why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. For such as one sitteth his own soul to sale, because while he liveth, he casteth away his vows.
Yeah, and while the so-called white man lived and ruled, man, he ruled with covetousness. It tells you that in Habakkuk 2, man. His desire is his death, man, and is as hell. And he cannot be satisfied, man. And the Lord hates that, a covetous person. Ashes, dirt and ashes being proud. Walking around the planet Earth to have the audacity to say that this is an accident. And by default, you would be the god of the planet because you're the so-called most intelligent on the planet.
Right.
That's a proud thing to say. And because of that, Esau's going to be destroyed, man. You got to preach?
Just going into the pride of Esau. This is Obadiah, starting at 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwelleth in the cliffs of the rock.
Because Esau's completely comfortable in his belief system, man. That's why we shouldn't be shaking in faith when Esau don't believe this, man. This ain't for him. He's supposed to believe that what? His house shall continue from generation to generation. That's what the Lord put inside his computer program. You know what he put inside Jacob's computer program? Faith and righteousness. But 2/3 of our people have what? A virus. That's why the Lord said the whole head is sick and the whole heart faint, man. Because 2/3 of our people have a disease, and for 2/3 of them it's incurable. But the Lord is about to take that pride and turn it upside down, and he's going to do that through great judgment, death and destruction. That's why the opioid crisis is happening. That's why you have sedition, which is rising up against the government. The so-called white man put us on Fox News. He really need to be worried about these Edomite militias, because they really ready to go against the White House. They drilling every day in the woods, getting ready to go up against the government the moment they try to do something that's against the Constitution, man. Because you got a lot of Edomite veterans who fought and died for a constitution, and the moment you start changing it, they're going to turn that Edomite spirit on each other, man. You got more now?
Daniel chapter 2, verse 42. And as for the toes, of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
And that's a representation of some of these nations that are in league with Babylon the Great Some of them being strong and some of them being weak. You got it right.
Verse 43, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay.
And that shows you that no matter what empire that has tried to create a one world government, it has never worked.
Well, we were just saying, so he wasn't going to that last week, my bad. So what I'm reading right now, we're at the feet of the statue. The miry clay, the iron and clay mix. Hey, pull that statue, pull that side up under there. Let's sit it over, right over there. Slide this down. Sit it right here, that way you can see it. Sit it over there. Slide that over there. That right there. He wanted to go into it last week.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, those 10 toes represents those same, those 10 horns. What is it? 7 heads and 10 horns?
Right.
On the beast. It's the same representation of this whole Roman Empire. Now they got nations in the EU that are strong. They got nations in the EU that are weak, and that's what the brother's going into. You got it, bro.
Verse 44. So it say, and in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other peoples.
Exactly. So the Lord saying that in that time, when you see these 10 toes and them trying to mix themselves and mingle themselves with the seed of men, but it shall not prevail, the Lord's going to set up a standard. And that's the standard that we see now. I believe it's in Psalms 50 where the Lord said he's going to set us in order before their eyes.
Right.
When they see us standing on these corners, that's a representation of the order that the Lord's setting up. Because what Esau really wants us to do is to play his game, which is to be carnal. To do this Black Panther edition. And that's not what the Lord is telling us to do. That's why we're supposed to be harmless as doves and wise as serpents. Because he's about to set up the kingdom and establish this kingdom. And this kingdom is not going to be left to other people. Meaning this kingdom is not going to be left to a conglomerate of different heathen nations. It's going to be left to the nation of YAHAWAH. And everybody else got to bend the knee. Yeah, right.
But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
Exactly, and that means there's no time limit on the kingdom that the Lord is about to set up. And He says He's going to break these other nations asunder. So it's going to come a time where ain't going to be nobody else that got to say something. It's going to be YAHAWASHI, the nation of YAHAWAH, and the rest of the world. And it's in that order. Nobody else going to be able to buck up against that. The Lord said that any nation that will not serve you, He's not going to have rain on them. Come on, man. Go ahead.
When you read that verse, like Nebuchadnezzar, right, he had the vision, but he saw a stone that was cut out of the mountain without hands. But that's what I'll read. The stone represents YAHAWASHI. So we read again, verse 45. It said, for as much thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold. And great power have made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure.
I got a piece of it. So this is 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 3. No, I start at 4. No, I start at 1. Wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. If so be ye have tasted that the Lord is gracious, to whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of the Most High and precious. And that's that stone that's going to be cut without hands. And that stone is going to hit there and break in pieces this whole statue and become an exceedingly great mountain. That mountain goes into the government of the nation of YAHAWAH.
Isaiah chapter 2.
Exactly. Matter of fact, I get it. So Isaiah chapter 2 and verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And those hills represent smaller governments. The mountain is the government, and it's going to be exalted above the hills, which is the other governments, the other established orders of the nations. Because even the other nations are going to have orders. When our nation and rulership, when we're meeting with other nations, we're not going to be meeting with the common man of their nation. We're going to be meeting with the princes of the Elamites or the princes of the Ishmaelites. That same order is going to come down, but this is going to be a forever government. So that's what the 10 toes and really the statue is a representation of the governments. Just like the 4 beasts, and just like the beast in the Revelation, that represents the very last kingdom and empire.
This is Daniel chapter 7, and I'm going to start at verse 13.
Yep.
I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him here before him, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, and all people, nations, and languages shall serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near to one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me known the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are 4, are 4 kings which shall arise out of the earth.
Right.
But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
And that's the saints are the children of Israel. And they're going to possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. That's why it's really sottish and foolish for Jake to invest themselves in a kingdom that's going to be destroyed, where the Lord has something set up that's eternal for our nation. He said he's not going to even leave that kingdom to other people.
Right.
So even as bad as Jake is right now, the worst Jake is more excellent than any other excellent other nation. And they're going to know that in the kingdom. It said when they're going to see a child of the Lord, they're going to be like, matter of fact, what is it, Zechariah 8 and 23?
This verse 19, then I would know the truth of the 4 beasts, but this will go in, bro, which was diverse from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured break in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and the mouth that spake very great things.
And that horn is a representation of America. Those other 3 horns were the French, the Spanish, and the British.
Right.
Because what you have to understand is that horn that came up and the 3 fell, that's talking about being set up in America. Right. And inside of America, you had 3 wars. You had the Spanish War. Right. You had the French Revolution, I believe, which is the war that they had in America over this land. Right. And then you had the Revolutionary War, which was with the British. Right. And that great eyes is the representation of intelligence. And speaking great things, we already know what those great things are. Darwinism is speaking great things against YAHAWASHI. You know? Atheism is preaching great things against YAHAWASHI. Calling the Lord a so-called white man is speaking great things against the Most High.
Which is blasphemy,
But that beast is a representation of that Roman Empire. Right. But what you find out is that beast had a wound unto death, and that deadly wound was healed.
That's why, right, you see the legs that was iron, came back as a revived Roman Empire. So that's the feet. the clay and the iron mixed together, which shall not mix. So it say, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows.
Exactly. And what do they call this place? America the Proud.
Right.
Stout goes into pride.
Right.
You know, and that's why Obadiah says, the pride of thine heart hath deceived you. Because the Lord always drops you the little jewels to let you know if you're spiritual, to lock them in, put two and two together. Right. Even though it wouldn't take that much for the hopeful elect to get it, this is for our nourishment. This is for us to stay occupied until he comes. But now we're in the time of the last fall of the Roman Empire. Now we're in the time where the Roman Empire is going to fall for good. And the so-called white man is going to be removed. And that's going to be a great judgment that's going to put all the other nations in check. It's just like we've been doing this parable about jail all night. If you got a guy sitting on death row, you still in jail, but you glad you're not him. Because eventually his ticket gonna get punched. You still got some kind of hope. You can still wake up and get new. You know one day it's gonna come to a point where this man ain't gonna be able to do none of that. Right. That's gonna put a lot of fear in these other nations because they're gonna know that this man is gonna be removed from the earth completely.
Verse 21, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came. And judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. But then he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which was diverse from all the kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, which is North America, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and shall be diverse from the first. And he shall subdue 3 kings, and he shall break, and he shall speak.
And that king is going into America.
Right.
It's that same horn that rose up and 3 fell.
Right.
Yeah.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and a dividing of time.
And that's what we're in. We're in the end of that time.
Right.
But the Lord had already spoken. Could you imagine being Daniel, finding out that your nation ain't gonna give it glory until 3 or 4 kingdoms later?
Right.
You in the middle of Babylon, and that's the head. You ain't even made it to the arm. You ain't made it to none of that.
See, that's what you gotta understand, bro. Daniel was still in the head with Babylon. That's a long time off, man.
That's a reason to be grieved. That's a reason to be grieved, because you know your nation ain't gonna win.
That's why he said he
won't
grieve. Yep, my bad.
He said, bro.
He said it in that verse 15. He said, I Daniel was grieved in the spirit, in the midst of my body, and in the vision of my head troubled me, because he was still in the head, man.
And the brother just had brought that out earlier. Could you imagine how they would feel if the Lord actually told them how long it was going to be before the actual kingdom of Israel was going to be established?
That's why he told me in one form to know right there, man.
Because they'd have been grieved in their body and in their head and in their
Probably would have fell out.
What spirit you would have been in, you in the faith, and he said, Lord, you done rose, it's time? No, they ain't tell you, got to wait like 5,000 years from now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, 5,000? 2,000, 1,000 for that now.
2,500 years.
Yeah, time to go back to work.
Man, I'm about to go fish, bro.
They faith would have got super weak, probably, man.
But then on the flip side, the Lord gave Daniel the interpretation of the end.
Right. Right, yeah.
He gave him, look, it's the full spectrum.
Peter didn't even know that.
Yeah. I mean, they read the words of Daniel, but for Daniel to receive that revelation, what he did, that had to be heavy on the spirit to know that you in the golden head, and you got to wait all these kingdoms for your nation to win.
Goes back to giving You don't give no man more than what they can handle.
Exactly.
He knew who was able to handle.
But that's why even on your worst day, it's your best day. That's why even on your worst day, it's your best day. Because we could have woke up to this truth. We could have woke up to this truth in Assyrian captivity. Or we could have woke up in this truth in Egypt. You know, right now we're at the end of we're at the conclusion of the matter.
Essentially, if I'm, I don't know if I'm wrong enough, but isn't that what happened? Because we come back in the generation of the spirit of the prophet, subject to the prophet. So we did wake up, but we must have kept the faith or something like that.
Yeah, so we had this time before. But the point being that now we're waking up at the end of this week.
And it says that we are blessed to see these things because
Let's get that. Matthew 13 and 17. And that's why your worst day is your best day. Because you got it at the end. It ain't like you know, it ain't shaky. You got it at the last kingdom. The last kingdom of the heathens, you got it.
Now all you got to do is endure.
All you got to do is hold your crown. You already got the crown. That's why Yahawashi said, take hold and no man take your crown.
Right.
What crown, Yahawashi? He already gave it to you.
Right. All you got to do is endure to the end, man.
You already got the crown.